Hi, and welcome to the Diamond Report for Sunday, May 14th, 2017. This is your host, Doug Diamond. It's currently 9:57 p.m., and we are looking at a brand new magnitude 6 earthquake that happened at 2:44 Central Time, so some 7 hours ago or so. And as I said in a Facebook post a few days ago, the hits just keep on happening. Hits meaning large earthquakes. So this is a magnitude 6, and you can just add it to the list of multiple 6s and one near 7 in there as well over the last, well, today's the 14th, so it started on the 8th. So over the last 6 days, we've had multiple 6.0 quakes, and that coincides with the ramp up at CERN, which I've talked about ad nauseum. You're probably kind of tired of hearing about that. However, let's take a look at what exactly has transpired magnitude 6.0 and greater since that time. Let's just take a look here. Let's see, the earliest one was the one in the Aleutian Islands. I think that was the first one. Let me see when that was. That's it right there. Yeah, that was on the 8th. So, looking at the globe at the moment, we're looking at everything magnitude 6.0 and larger since May 8th, when CERN started their ramp up. The dark red circles, of course, are the oldest quakes. The white circles, the white rings, are the newest quakes. So, the color progression goes from light to dark, light being the newest. And all of these quakes are magnitude 6.0 or greater. Now this one says 5.8. I could just adjust this just a slight bit to get rid of that. But a 5.8 is a very, very close proximity to a 6.0. However, you can see we've got the brand new one at Chile, we've got Central America, we've got the Aleutian Islands, we've got near Taiwan, south of Japan, we've got Vanuatu. That's where the 7.0 was here. I'm calling it a 7.0. It was basically a 6.9, but anyways, close enough. And then this 6.2 out here near Fiji, north of New Zealand. All of those. And then one more here at South Sandwich Islands. So how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 7 total magnitude 6.0s or greater since the 8th. So that's 7 over the last 6 days. So anyway, I just thought you'd like to see that. And just to reiterate, I'm not blaming CERN for all of this activity. I just think it is interesting, the timing. And I would add too that all of these earthquakes are actually all in places that we see normal progression of pressure being transferred from one place to another. There are none that are really out of place, meaning if CERN is causing, if whatever activity CERN is doing, if they're causing additional earthquakes, which that's documented to be the case as of a year and a half ago when we were tracking this, if their work is bringing about more earthquakes, that does not mean that they're just randomly happening at different places in the planet. It's not random. Now, it might be more random as far as the timing goes and the size, but where the earthquakes are happening is not random at all. Everywhere you see a ginormous red circle or white circle are all places that we see normal pressure transfer from one part of the globe to another. So that part of it, I want to be clear, is not really any different than normal. What's different is the magnitude and the number of large quakes that we've seen. And of course the timing. So that's what's important really more than anything. Let's look at the last 48 hours. This is what I typically show on earthquake updates, just to get a brief synopsis of what's going on. I mentioned the magnitude 4.4 just off the west coast and how that would filter from the west coast eastward. And that does seem to be what's happening. We've got the sort of peach-colored magnitude 4.4 here off the west coast, and a number of newer, lighter-colored rings out here along the North American craton, the edge of the craton. You can see it if you have ever seen a picture of the craton, and I'll try and remember and show tomorrow on the earthquake update where the actual craton lies. It goes down the Rocky Mountains, clear to southern Texas, and then bends back up around to the New Madrid seismic zone, and then takes a hard bend and goes back down through these southern states and then up the eastern seaboard. So all of these quakes that you see are right around the edge of the North American craton. Totally normal movement as far as that goes. Now, the other earthquakes that we've seen, I mentioned this yesterday, we've had a lot of magnitude 4s, and it looks like there's even a few more on the map here, but in general, I would say that other than that 6.0, we're seeing mostly 4s, 3s, and 2s. Of course, that's all super normal transfer from place to place in different parts of the globe. So nothing to get worried about, nothing to be concerned about. What's interesting to me, though, is the timing of these larger quakes coinciding with the ramp up at CERN. Anyway, let's move on to the headlines. He's angry at everyone. Trump said to plan huge reboot. Priebus, Bannon, Spicer could be fired. That's on Zero Hedge. The president cannot imagine Russia is pleased. Trump brings Putin into North Korea crisis after Kim Jong-un fired a missile towards Japan that landed 60 miles south of Vladivostok. White supremacist Richard Spencer leads a KKK-style mob of torch-wielding protesters chanting, "You will not replace us," in fight to keep a statue of Robert E. Lee in Virginia Park. We will never give up. North Korea warns Pyongyang doesn't blink an eyelash at enemies. That's on the Express. The state-of-the-art Navy vessel that's designed to shoot down Kim Jong-un's ballistic missiles before they start World War III. Public school principal who told Christians, quote, "I don't give an F what you think Jesus tells me," end quote, finally resigns. That's on freedomoutpost.com. Russian and Syrian forces arrest 1,000 ISIS militants, and there's a media blackout. Shocker there, I know. America's death coming by 1,000 visas. Expert warns of many legal paths Muslims take to U.S. for civilization jihad. That's on WND.com. Impeach Maxine Waters. Street art appears near Inglewood Town Hall meeting. That's on the American Mirror. Watch. Man arrested because cops fear for their lives for being filmed. That's on the Free Thought Project. Businesses brace for Monday as ransomware threat lingers. Maxine Waters says, "Donald Trump, I'm coming for you." That's on Breitbart. And more airline nuttiness. JetBlue kick family off plane in confrontation over their mom's birthday cake after it is deemed a security risk on flight to Las Vegas to celebrate her 40th. Homegrown jihadists remain most frequent and unpredictable terror threat to U.S. I would say that's probably true with the exception of globalist technocrat elites who run the planet. To me, they're the real threat. And of course, they're using jihadists to get some of their work done. North Korean problem. Washington sees no options apart from starting a war. That's on Sputnik News. That seems to be the case pretty much all the time. CIA's new Korea Mission Center tries to fathom unpredictable Kim Jong-un. That's on Sputnik News. And from Greg Hunter of USA Watchdog, record global debt will pop record bubbles. That's with Michael Pinto. And a couple of articles from Natural News. Robot fruit pickers to put migrant agricultural laborers out of work. Science propaganda. New study claims that people who believe in religion are, quote, brain damaged. What about people who believe in the religion of Scientism? Are they brain damaged? Because Scientism is a religion as well, except it's for scientists. They worship their own BS, their own propaganda. But they're apparently not brain damaged, quote unquote. Germany is now confiscating homes to use for Merkel's migrants. That's on the Gateway Pundit. Thanks to President Trump, U.S. government will finally cross-check voter rolls with DHS alien lists. That's also on the Gateway Pundit. Health experts in Congo identified 2 more suspected Ebola cases. So here we go. We're starting the ramp up again, it looks like. Zika just didn't do it for them. So now they have to go back to Ebola. Ex-Muslims slam Facebook for censoring pages that disrespect Islam as pages are shut down. Over 200,000 infected. Europol fears computers simply won't start Monday after unrivaled global cyber attack. That's on Zero Hedge. Stock market warning as Wall Street's fear index plunges to lowest level in decades. Cholera death toll climbs to 115 in Yemen. Thousands infected in outbreak. That's on RT. The financial elite created France's new president, Emmanuel Macron. UK Defense Secretary insists nuclear subs are safe despite concerns over WannaCry vulnerability. That's on RT. It's pretty ironic that they say that nuclear subs who carry nuclear weapons are safe. But I understand what they're saying too. Former Intelligence Director Clapper says Trump is assaulting U.S. institutions. I think he means unconstitutional U.S. institutions such as the NSA and the FBI. Speaking of which, NSA trained virus community to do significant damage with hacking tools. That's on Sputnik News. Imposing its will, Trump to meet Kim Jong-un only under Washington's terms. Governor Jerry Brownshirt, his new budget includes millions to defend illegal aliens from deportation. Russia tanks drop out of the sky as it practices NATO battle and Putin gears up for World War III. That's on the Daily Star. Putin will launch a nuclear first strike, says Paul Craig Roberts. That's with Dave Hodges of the Common Sense Show. Defending Southern heritage, alt-right protest against the Robert E. Lee statue removal. Asia braces for ransomware fallout as work week begins. Hong Kong will get hammered. That's on Zero Hedge. I got to go to Hong Kong a few years ago. It's a beautiful city. How to stick it to your banker, the Fed, and the whole doggone fiat money system. That sounds like a pretty good idea. Worried about WannaCry? You should have listened to Julian Assange. That's on theduran.com. ISIS commanders join moderate Syrian rebels. Microsoft slams NSA for letting its hacking tools cause global malware epidemic. It's on Zero Hedge. North Korea promises biggest disaster in history after successful missile launch. U.S. plane is buzzed again by Russian jet over the Black Sea in the second such incident this week. America doesn't need global perpetual war to prove we love liberty. Amen to that. That's on the antimedia.org. And a headline that I couldn't agree more with, the Federal Reserve must go. That's on the economiccollapseblog.com. Study finds dating apps lower self-esteem. Trendy tech designed to demoralize individuals. That's on the Daily Mail. From Axios, Scoop, Trump irked at cabinet and staff, mulls sweeping shakeup. Alex Jones destroys globalist, teleprompter reading maggot Keith Olbermann. Complete hypocrites, Democrats hated Comey. If Hillary fired Comey, they would be cool with it. I think that's very true. Emergency message to mainstream media, don't lose your humanity. Selling out won't get you anything. That's an important message, but unfortunately it falls on deaf ears with them because they believe they're part of the favored class who will get to rise to the next level of human whatever. The left attacks Mother's Day, and Trump calls on God to save America. Democrats may refuse to vote on Trump's FBI pick, but they didn't like Comey either. And from Paul Joseph Watson, a video, Muslim hijab rap cringe fest. No, The Muslim veil is not a symbol of feminism, you utter morons. And I mentioned this yesterday. The hijab is actually not the veil. The veil is the burqa. The hijab is the entire outfit that covers the whole body. And a video from the Josh Tolley show. Catholic exorcist warns Pope Francis not the legitimate pope and Satan has taken over the throne. To me, that goes without saying. International Earthquake and Volcano Prediction Center says imminent earthquake threat to U.S. nuclear facilities. What we are saying is that our research demonstrates that multiple big ones are about to sweep across the U.S. between 2017 and 2038. Again, more completely arbitrary dates that they just stick in there and grab a few headlines. Could we get a big one? Yes, but we will have multiple warnings ahead of time through other movements transferring from one place to another, as I go over almost every single day on the earthquake update. It's not going to catch us by surprise, is what I'm saying. At least not in the form that they're talking about here. JAMA, the Journal of the American Medical Association, admits 30% of drugs approved by the FDA, so FDA-approved drugs, are seriously dangerous. That's on the Free Thought Project. Snowden blasts the NSA over global malware attack, says they could have easily prevented it. The switch has been flipped and the world is at war. The only problem is no one knows precisely who's pulling the switches. NSA knows the fix, according to Snowden. That's also on the Free Thought Project. Mars or New Mexico, razor-like vertical rock formations are eerily similar to Earth's. Steve says Ariel filmed Shiprock a month ago and noted the similarities from above. Look for more Martian ties in the weeks ahead. Cairo means Mars camp. That's on RT. The original article is on RT. Strange story of Tecumseh's comet, Black Sun prophecy, and New Madrid earthquakes. The biggest earthquakes in American history. That's on messagetoeagle.com. Enormous underwater structure in the Sea of Galilee is a mystery to archaeologists. Its Hebrew name of Gilgal Raphim means wheel of giants and refers to an ancient race of giants, the Nephilim, a superhuman race mentioned in the Bible. That's on ancient-origins.net. China creates national lab to lead the world in brain-like artificial intelligence. The velocity of work is much faster in China than in most of Silicon Valley. Translation, we are beating you in everything technologically, Steve says. The original article is on dailygalaxy.com. Mainstream media heads explode across America as President Trump talks about throwing them out of the White House. Steve says Michael Savage called them red diaper doper babies, and I think they are all going to need a changing table instead of a desk. That original article is on All News Pipeline. Experts warning U.S. citizens to prepare for economic collapse. Big cities are becoming the third world. That's on myDailyInformer.com. A mysterious antenna emerges in an empty Chicago field. Billions depend on it. Steve says, think out of the box. What happens if they turn it into a transmitter with stealth engineering? Controlling the data determines the trade. Original article on Zero Hedge. Long sleeping below the ice, they're now awakening. Experts warn long dormant pathogens could, quote, wipe out humanity. That's also on All News Pipeline. The amazing first verse of the Bible. You must see this film. Research reveals only 17% of American Christians have a Christian worldview. Steve says, interesting as the number 17 is the number of God's, preservation in the midst of judgment. What happens to the other 83% is not good. The original article is on ChristianHeadlines.com. Franklin Graham calls persecution of Christians genocide. Steve says he is absolutely correct, calls it what it is, while apostate pastors lap milk from a bowl and embrace Islam while denying Jesus publicly. That's on ChristianHeadlines.com as well. Scientists have set a limit for quantum entanglement, and it's really freaking powerful. Unbreakable at 30 times Earth's acceleration. That's on sciencealert.com. Quantum entanglement is something that Anthony Patch gets into almost every single week on his radio show. His show's on every Friday. If you just visit anthonypatch.com, you can catch his show where he and Kev Baker, Kev is his co-host of the show, they frequently talk about quantum entanglement. And it is really an interesting subject to me. And they make it understandable for anybody. It's not completely esoteric. It is on paper, but they make it understandable. Aftershocks may last as U.S. warns of malware's complex components. Trump administration official said Sunday, and experts warned that the effects of the malicious software could linger for some time. Okay, that's all for today's Diamond Report. Thanks for listening and watching, and I will see you tomorrow.